Ayesha. In this segment, we're going to focus on the current struggles which Muslim women face when accessing courts.
Thanks for having me, Khensani.
Okay, so what are the current options for women who want to institute divorce proceedings?
So since Muslim marriages are now recognized as valid marriages in terms of South African law, women can approach the court to institute a divorce under the Divorce Amendment Act, but high costs of legal action really is still a deterrent. And because of this, many women still only approach the religious bodies to terminate their marriages.
So then, how are marriages terminated in terms of Islamic law?
So in terms of Islamic law, there are three ways which a marriage can be terminated. It's through a talaq, it's through a fasakh, and there's an option called a khula as well. Okay. So with talaq, it is the husband's right to terminate the divorce, but it can also be delegated to the wife or to a third party under conditions which are agreed upon before the marriage. A fasakh is a divorce which is instituted by the wife. And there's also on grounds such as infidelity, or it can be lack of maintenance or neglect, where he neglects to fulfill his obligations and his responsibilities. Then you have a khula, and that is where the wife returns her mahar or her dowry to the husband in order for her to be released from this marriage. But here also, there needs to be agreement by the husband. So it's a little bit of a tricky option. But those are the three options which are available to Muslim women in terms of Islamic law.
So Ayesha, what struggles do women actually face when accessing courts for instituting divorce proceedings?
Gosh, Khensani, costs are the biggest deterrent for women. Because as a woman, you're often forced with, having to choose between using the little bit of resources that you have available to litigate, or to use them to support yourself and your children, to put bread on the table. So many women have spent years as homemakers, and now maybe after 20 years of marriage, you've got to enter what is a very competitive job market, and you've got no income or no prior income, you've got maybe no qualification, and that makes litigation unrealistic. So my lived experience post-divorce, I was 40 years old. I was lucky because I had a little bit of savings, and I used that to complete a paralegal qualification. And post-qualification, I applied as a receptionist at an estate agency. And when I went in for my interview, the director said, with your matric certificate, you are here, but with your paralegal qualification, you are here. I still didn't get the job, although I was qualified. And I believe the reason I didn't get the job was because I had children. And the fact that as a mother, you may have to, take care of your children, and you can't be at work every day. So that for me is also something that I find women, is an issue for women, where you are unable to secure work despite having a qualification. And it's even worse for those who are unable to upskill themselves post-divorce. Even though the law now recognizes Muslim marriages as valid, legal practitioners, we are still struggling to apply the relief in terms of the judgment which was granted, because the default marital regime for Muslim marriages is one of out of community of property without the accrual. So because the default marital regime is out of community of property without accrual, women face the difficulty of quantifying the unpaid labor during marriage, their contributions in terms of cooking and cleaning and caring for the children. This is often, invisible in legal proceedings, and it's difficult to quantify.
Okay. So then, how can women then quantify their contribution to their marriage?
Ideally, couples should have mutual consultation before they get married, and there it can be made and by agreement that whatever the wife contributes to the marriage will be a debt on the husband upon death or dissolution of the marriage. And women could also then potentially keep a record, a little black book of all their contributions, and then that would be a way of quantifying. You could actually have an amount. It's also important for couples to acknowledge that domestic labor, caregiving, household management, there's a value attached to it. And it needs to be documented so that claims can be strengthened in court.
This is why our campaign is so important. For decades, Muslim women were excluded from protections of family law and left to navigate divorce without enforceable rights. Today, even with recognition, barriers like cost, enforcement, and the undervaluing of women's contribution remains. By informing women of their rights and equipping legal practitioners through initiatives like our legal symposium, we take another step towards ensuring that justice for Muslim women is not just on paper, but in practice as well.